Hey guys, this video is for educational purposes only. Please do not break the law. Hey Justin, welcome to the Growers MBA podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Justin, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? You guys are over at FOHSE. You've been in the grow industry for a long time. I know that. Could you tell me a bit about your history and maybe give us a little bit of history on FOHSE as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start out with FOHSE. It's the future of horticulture science and engineering. Started about 2015. We had a group of guys, motocross enthusiasts, that were at a motocross garage, also cannabis enthusiasts. One of them was a mechanical engineer that designed the biggest, baddest light in the industry, and they actually built it in their motocross garage. And that is the A3i that we're famous for. And that was the start of FOHSE.
That's wild. So they had, I guess they were pretty passionate about growing. They're maybe home growers themselves and also motocross.
Yeah, I'd say motocross was probably more their direction at the time, but their passion for cannabis and their passion for building things, hence the motocross and the riding and whatnot. But yeah, they built the A3i and it changed the game. The multi-spectrum 1500-watt light that we got famous for.
Awesome, awesome. I'm really interested to talk more about that, learn more about your guys' products as well. But before we jump into that, I'd love to learn a bit about you and what's your kind of history in the space.
I grew up on the West Coast, Southern California native. I got in this industry about 15 years ago. I really just started with four lights in the back room. I had some buddies that were growing, and they got me excited about it. And we started growing. That turned into a few more lights here and there. About 10 years ago, I moved up to Humboldt County, California, to be a little closer to cannabis. At the time, it's the motherland of weed. It was the Emerald Triangle, still is. Moved up here in 2019. I started working for a little company called Lux Lighting. Brandon Burkhardt he grew up in a similar area to myself, and we had mutual friends. He needed a salesman, and I was looking for some more stable work. 2019, and I picked me up, and I was one of their first salesmen. That lasted until we all know Lux sold in end of 2021. I did go with the acquisition over to Hawthorne for a short amount of time. That ended up not working out. Lux Lighting was shut down that year. So I went to MJ BizCon in 2022, and I went to every lighting manufacturer that was there and had in-depth conversations. FOHSE was the only one that got me excited as a grower. The technology, the new products on the horizon, and just the core values of the team and the crew, man, it really sold me.
Awesome. So you definitely have quite a background in the space, quite a lot of experience, which is awesome because one of the main goals of this episode and this podcast is to educate any potential customers because, man, it is wild to try and get into this space as a newbie. And so, yeah, I'd love to ask maybe some questions for you, just as with your experience, just maybe some tips for newbies coming into the space, maybe some budding entrepreneurs, as we could say. And then after that, we can hop into just talking a little bit more about the FOHSE lights, and you can kind of highlight some of those features as well.
It's a little overwhelming these days to start. Back when we first started, 15 years ago, we were growing tomatoes, and that's when we'd go to the hydro store and we'd have those conversations about that. We had these big, huge, triple X hoods, these single-ended bulbs, all this wild technology. Well, that's all gone away. Now there's these lines of LEDs and they're everywhere. It seems like every time you hit Google store, there's a new LED popping up. Best thing to do is maximize your space. So first figure out your growing space, whether you're going to be in a tent, a room, a garage, if you have a growing facility. You want to find the right tool for that space. FOHSE has the Pisces series LED. It's designed for the home grower, hobby grower, 700 watt and a 900 watt. It's a great tool to get going. My advice is just start with one light and see how it goes. Recommendation for a hobby grower is to start out small. Don't overwhelm yourself. I started with four lights in the back room, and I'll be honest, that was a little overwhelming. I didn't know how to grow cannabis. I thought I could. Had a terrible first run. I recommend getting solid genetics. You want to start your plants with good roots, good genetics. You also want to have a good growing environment. Make sure your temperature, humidity, CO2 is all on point. Make sure that you have the right light, you have the right growing medium, the right nutrients, and take it slow. Read a lot, educate yourself, and ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask. Your local hydro store or the online retailer is a great resource for getting started. They know everything. They have relationships with everyone from the media to your nutrients to your pots to your watering systems, everything. I would start with the grow stores and talk to them and get your start.
Cool. Yeah, that's great first advice for someone that's just getting into the space as a hobbyist. Now, someone who's coming in and they've got a little bit more experience, but maybe they're like, hey, I've gotten pretty good at this. I might want to start a business about it, maybe get a license. Any advice for someone coming into this field? Because it's obviously competitive and probably extremely intimidating coming in. So yeah.
It is competitive. So what a lot of states are doing now with legalization is micro grows. It's a great program. You can start with anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000 square feet. Micro grow, a great way to get in. Once again, you want to start. You don't want to go too big too fast. You want to make sure that you have the right tools, the right space, the right staff if you need that. Most of the time, you have problems in the garden because employees you can't trust, farmers that don't know what they're doing, cultivars that say they know what they're doing but don't. Really, you got to vet out your crew, make sure you have your recipe. You need discipline, hard work, dedication, and you'll succeed.
Awesome. That's some great advice. Now, when it comes to purchasing grow lights, like I said, there's a lot that someone needs to consider when coming into that. I guess the first thing I'll ask is what's some of the biggest mistakes someone might make when they come into looking to purchase their first grow light?
Some of the big mistakes, I would say the size of the light. FOHSE is a great example of that. We have everything from our 700-watt Pisces all the way up to a 1500-watt A3i. Now, those lights aren't meant for all situations. I get a lot of phone calls where guys want to get started and they see us advertising the A3i and they want to put that in their tent. It's the wrong tool. Don't be afraid to listen to the advice of the lighting manufacturer to get that right tool. You don't have to start with the biggest and baddest. Compare it to driving. FOHSE A3i is the Lamborghini of lights. When you first get your driver's license, you're not driving a Lamborghini. You got to start and work your way up.
Cool, cool. And I definitely want to learn more about the A3i as well. So I guess now would be a great time to just kind of talk about all your guys' different products. So compared to some lights you see on Amazon for similar wattages, is a bit more expensive. And so could you share a bit about why? And, because someone might see, oh, a 900-watt grow light, I can get that for half off on Amazon. Should someone invest a little bit more with the quality of FOHSE?
That is correct. You can get just about anything on Amazon these days. And advertisements, with lights can be deceiving. Not all lights are created the same. There's different quality drivers, different quality diodes, different quality manufacturers. You want to look at the warranty. With FOHSE, we have a 5-year warranty on all of our products. All of our fixtures have 5-year warranty. Other companies might not. You want to research their failure rate. FOHSE, we have less than a 1% failure rate. If you do have a manufacturing issue and your light is not working, we'll take it back. We'll get you a new one. If you're ordering something off of Amazon, where are you going to send that return to? Are they going to replace that light? If you have growing questions, if you have installation questions, do you have a point of contact? With FOHSE, you have myself, we have our whole cultivation team, our team of engineers. We're there to support you. With any purchase of our fixtures, we want to make sure that you have the best run you've ever had with our lights.
Yep. And I can definitely comment on that as well. I've worked with you guys for a long time now, almost about a year now. And you guys have always been super helpful with us whenever a customer might have some sort of issue. You guys have always been no questions asked, right there to fix it. So I can definitely comment on that.
Yeah, we do our best. Your garden's missing a light. Your plants aren't getting the light. We're farmers first. We want to make sure that your garden is continually running.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. It's super important. So let's talk about your guys' products. I guess we start off with the Lamborghini of lights that you guys have, the A3i.
The A3i. So back in 2015, when this light was created, FOHSE wanted to make the biggest, baddest grow light in the world, and we did that. A3i has a multi-spectrum, which means that's 3 different spectrums, pretty much 3 lights in one. We got spring, summer, and autumn settings, so it'll mimic the life cycle of the sun. It has 1,500 watts, high-powered, high-intensity LED. It's designed to go about 6 feet from the canopy, so you put these lights up, and we're going to light up the whole room. A little different than your standard footprint. Most fixtures will do a 4x4 to a 5x5 footprint. Not the FOHSE A3i. It's going to do up to 6x6 and bigger, and we'll create a light map for you so your entire room is evenly lit up.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that does sound like the Lamborghini.
It's a beast to see this thing in action, man. The quality of the cannabis that it produces is just amazing. Remember the first time I saw some actual buds from the A3i, I was blown away. I thought it was from a small boutique garden, but it was from a multi-hundred light facility with A3is. They were just crushing it. Yeah, it's very impressive.
And so when you say the quality of the bud, what exactly do you mean by that? Like the size or?
Just the size of the nugs, the density, the colors, the terpenes. I'm a smoker. The quality for me is the smoke. We can look at it and smell and see it's pretty, but to actually try it out and know that you're getting the high quality, good smoke of cannabis on a large level that a lot of facilities can't get with some of these other LEDs.
Sweet, sweet. For the next one we can talk about is something we sold a ton of in the past, the Pisces line. You guys got the 700 and the 900.
We do. So yeah, the Pisces series was launched about a year ago. It was designed for the hobby and the home grower. We do have a tent kit in the works. Wink, it'll be here soon, so that's going to be fun. But yeah, it was designed to go for the hobby grower. What we found is that it works very well in commercial settings. We've had some facilities that have bought 500,000 upwards of more, and they've done a multi-tier, single tier, and just the quality of the cannabis and the yields were amazing for the price of the fixtures. Yeah, the Pisces series is definitely our most economical intro level fixture. The 700 watt is a 6 bar, the 900 watt is a 8 bar, and they'll do from a 4x4 to a 5x5 footprint. Excuse me.
Awesome, awesome. And that's really exciting to hear. But that you guys do a grow tent kit. I mean, we sell tons of grow tent kits, so really excited to hear about that. Let's talk about which of the other lights, I guess you could say, are hobby.
Let's take a quick step back. So we talked about the A3i. That was the first biggest, baddest light we created. That light is not for everybody. It's designed for these bigger rooms, higher ceilings. FOHSE came out with the Scorpio. It is a 1,000 watt version of the A3i. So it still has the multi spectrums. We have the 3 different spectrums in there. 1,000 watts. With both of these fixtures, the bars swivel. We have polycarbonate lensing, Invatronic drivers, top quality components. One step lower than that is the Aries. It's a 640 watt version of the same light. Now that's smaller. That could fit in a tent, designed for a 3x3 to a 4x4. So that would be our entry level flagship series light for the home grower, is the Aries.
Okay, so quick question. Since they're basically the same light and really the wattage is kind of the only difference, in what scenario would, someone want the 1500, the 1000 or the 640?
So it's not just the size of the wattage, it's the size of the actual fixture. So the A3i is upwards of 80 pounds. It's large. The Scorpio, smaller fixture, and the Aries much, much smaller. So the Aries will actually hang in a tent and it'll work just great in there. Scorpio is one we probably don't talk as much about, but it does very well for those guys that are graduating from a tent but don't quite have that commercial facility. We can get the Scorpio a little bit closer to the canopy, a couple feet away. It still has that 1,000 watts and has deep canopy penetration. Scorpio is a great fixture for guys that want to leave the home grow market and dabble into the commercial world.
Awesome. And you guys have a couple more SKUs I just want to touch on here: the Pleiades, the Cobra, the 121, the O6i.
Yes, so let's actually stick with the indoor series since we just talked about the A3i, Scorpio, and Aries. Those are our indoor lights. Those are multi-spectrum, spring, summer, and autumn. Now we go to our fixed spectrum lights. The 121 is a great light. It actually is an HPS replacement. It's designed to take that old school HPS down and then just put this one straight up in its place. It's a rectangle style, kind of looks like a big box, but it's got everything built in. It's 850 watts. It's got polycarbonate lensing, and the lensing is designed to evenly distribute the light into a 5x5 canopy. That leads into, you mentioned the Cobra, the Pleiades. Well, we also have the O6i. That starts our greenhouse series. The O6i is a 1,200 watt high powered greenhouse light. That's our popular seller for, a lot of times you're going to put that in the larger greenhouses. You have more ceiling height. Some of the smaller hoops, PVC hoops, we're probably going to look more towards the Cobra series. The Cobra is 1,000 watt and a 700 watt. It's a single bar, long rectangle, and that can get a lot closer to the canopy, as well as it's going to take up less space in your greenhouse.
Awesome. Okay. So you guys have the kind of the hobbyist, you guys have more of the commercial growers, and then you guys have ones that kind of specialize for the greenhouse one. So FOHSE is kind of famous because of the high PPFD levels you guys have achieved. So can you talk about the technology behind that, as well as maybe before we talk about that, talk about what PPFD and why that is something that growers should be aware of?
Yeah, the PPFD is the light levels that are hitting the canopy and what the plants are actually absorbing in a layman's term. So what's important with light penetration, so HPS, the high pressure sodium lights, the double-endeds that were real famous in the cannabis world, they're high intensity, they produce a lot of heat, and they have deep canopy penetration. Well, we converted to LEDs and with a lower wattage. Now we found over the years that we just don't have that same canopy penetration that the HPS have. Cue FOHSE. FOHSE increase the wattage, increase the diode count, stronger drivers, and deeper light penetration.
Awesome. So definitely a high quality light with all of that. So let me give you a chance to shine some, I guess, brag a little bit here about the FOHSE lights. Can you share any success stories that you guys have worked with? You've obviously worked with commercial cannabis growers. Are there anything that comes to mind right now of maybe people who made the switch to FOHSE and had some great results?
A couple quick examples. One recent one for myself, I had the pleasure of visiting a Turt Mansion here in Humboldt County a few weeks back. He's finishing his greenhouse run with his O6i in the dead of winter. That's unheard of in Humboldt. Humboldt County doesn't generally do winter runs due to our weather, light levels, everything. He's the first guy in Humboldt that I know of that had a successful winter run, and he used the FOHSE O6i. Now, that being said, I had the pleasure to see those plants in about week 6. I might have been week 5 or 6. They looked amazing. I was blown away. We're actually getting the pleasure of doing some filming there next week, and I get to see them at their full finish. Another one was with the Pisces series, the Pisces 9, Costa Rica Hydroponics. Jamin's a good friend of mine down there. We sent a few pallets of lights to him for his retail stores. He's got a chain of 5 stores down there. He set up, I do believe, 16 Pisces 9s in one of their facilities. The size of the nugs, the quality of the nugs that he sent me, they went from HPS to their Pisces 9, and the success for them, they haven't grown that quality weed ever, and they're blown away. We can't get enough lights sent down there.
Cool. That's awesome to hear, man. Love to hear that stuff. So yeah, so I guess we can close up. I just got a few more questions here for you. LED market is incredibly competitive. So how does FOHSE stay competitive in this ridiculously competitive market?
I just say our team of engineers, our quality horticulturists, and our passion. Like myself, I'm a grower first for a lighting salesman. And our passion, we want everyone to succeed. We want to have the right tool for the right job. We want to have the right components in our tools. We want our lights to work and continue to work. Things to look at is longevity of a light. We have a 5-year warranty on all of our fixtures. We want our light to work just about as good as on year 5 as year 1. Obviously with technology, there's going to be a little degradation and whatnot, but our goal is to have your final run as good as your first run with our fixtures. And we keep to that. In my job, the right tool for the right job. I have a lot of people calling me, phone calls all day long, trying to set people up with the right tool for the right job. FOHSE, we hold your hand through the process. We have a red carpet treatment. When you're buying our fixtures, if you have a commercial facility, we're going to have an intro meeting. Our executives get involved, our horticulturists get involved, our engineers get involved. We really want to get to know your facility. We really want to get to know your growing style. We really want to make sure that you're successful.
Cool. That really helps you guys stand out for sure. Having a company that's super passionate about simply just helping and where it's not necessarily about the money, but you're really just trying to help someone out. I love to hear that. And that's why we love working with you guys as well. So, are there any future innovations that maybe you guys can shed a little bit of light on?
There's a couple of things we didn't talk about. We talked about our flagship series, the A3i Scorpio and Aries. Now, we talked about a multi-spectrum. What's awesome is we just launched the pro version of all 3 of those with spectrum tuning. We actually have a new driver that has one driver will control 7 points of contact, 7 different colors, and you can create your own spectrums. We can also pre-program spectrums. So maybe an OG or a Girl Scout cookie needs a different spectrum from each other, or maybe different cultivars are growing different styles. We can pre-program based on success of some of our R&D partners.
Yeah, that is super cool. That's really cool to think about the technology, how that's advancing. So that brings me on the last couple questions I have here, just kind of funner questions. As a hobbyist myself and someone who's interested in the industry, I'd love to know, I've only recently gotten involved, maybe the past year or so. As an industry veteran yourself, how have you seen the industry change since you've been involved?
Oh man, it's changed quite a bit. Billboards, being able to talk about it. 15 years ago, it was hush hush. It was taboo. We didn't really talk about it too much. We were under the medical law, so we were still legal, but it was still a lot of hush hush. Nowadays, I'll give you an example. I grew up in Southern California. We went to Las Vegas a lot of my youth. If you had weed in Nevada, you would go to jail. Now there's billboards as you're driving in to go buy it at stores. Just legalization in general, traveling from state to state, just watching the new growers. Every time a new state comes on board, it's like Southern California 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And it's just awesome to see the growth. State legalization is awesome. These states that have been suppressed and haven't been able to have cannabis now can. I see federal legalization on the horizon. I don't know what that looks like yet, but that's very exciting for me. Helping the world grow. It's we're changing the times, and it's awesome to see it, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Cool. And where do you see the industry going in the next few years? You mentioned federal legalization. Obviously, you don't know what that would look like, but I think, what is it, 26, 25 states legalized right now?
Yeah, in some form, whether that's full rec or medical. I think more on the medical term. I'd have to double check. It's constantly changing. But yeah, I see that the biggest changes is probably just legalization. We're continuing the states that aren't legal that should be legal, federal legalization and international legalization. There's countries coming online. Germany's about to go legal. Spain's doing well. South America, Central America is coming on board. I've even heard of some grows in South Africa. It's just popping up all over, where before it would have been taboo to even have these conversations. And now we're seeing the seeds and it growing. So I'm just excited to see where it's going and where it's going to be, next 5 to 10 years, 20 years.
Cool, cool. And do you foresee any cool technological advancements coming out in the next couple of years? Anything that you're looking forward to that's really going to change the game?
It's happening right now. We're living in the future. When I went to MJ BizCon this last year and I actually got to play with the FOHSE Pro Series, it excited me. And then I walked around the convention and I was looking for that wow factor. Every year you have a wow factor at the convention, some new technology that's just there. It was at our booth. we had it. And then the spectrum tuning is the future for lighting. It really is. We're going to get so much data, so many experienced cultivars. It's going to be amazing.
Exciting stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If there's anything else you wanted to say.
I'm just going to tell the hobby grower, home grower. I deal a lot with the home growers daily. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We like to help. We want to help. Don't be afraid to go to your local retail outlet. The brick and mortars are very important. Talk to them. Go to your local e-commerce. Write them an email. Ask them some questions. It's going to get to someone like myself. It's going to get to someone like James. We want to help, and we'll give you the right answer. And if we don't have it, we'll find it.
Yeah, and just to comment on that, we love helping customers out as well. So we carry all of the FOHSE products, and so if anyone out there wants to purchase or talk to someone, we can help out. We've got a direct line with Justin as well, in case there's any questions that you have. So Justin, really appreciate it. Super informative interview, and yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, James. Have a good one.